This is the Walk Thru, powered by Triple F Elite Sports Training. Train like a pro. Your all-access pass to the biggest games, hottest stories, and everything high school football in East Tennessee. From the Friday night lights to the chase for championships, we bring you the stars, the headlines, and every heart-pounding moment. So strap on that chin strap and get ready. Jesse, Paige, and the 5-star preps team are here with the most complete high school football coverage in the state. This is the Walk Thru.
Can't believe we're already in year 2 for the 5-Star Preps pregame show to kick off, for one, the 2025 high school football season. You blink and it's back.
Yeah.
Jesse, do you feel like you just walked out?
I feel like we just did our playoff show here last week and talked about all the playoffs. So yeah, I miss the smell of this place. You would think like a workout place would stink, but as soon as I walk in Triple F, I'm like, it smells good and I like it, and so it gets me kind of back in the mood. Thankful for Triple F hosting us once again, Lee Smith and his unbelievable facility here just off of Pellissippi. Is this still Pellissippi out there? Is it Oak Ridge Highway?
I only know by location.
Yeah, it changes into something else, but just past the split there going north on Pellissippi, and they were so gracious to us last year. We hosted it all the way through the season, and we are back for year 2 at Triple F, and it just keeps getting better each and every year here.
I know, and their attention to detail is unrivaled. I mean, they're just cleaning the turf for us as we get set, and that really does set a good stage for us. But before we get to 2025, I mean, there were some key moments last season. I mean, you could just start with Alcoa winning yet another title. I guess you were so good with trivia last year. How many appearances do they have in the state title game?
In the state title game? It's got to be, oh, wow. 25.
38.
38. Wow, that's insane.
Yes.
And they've won 23 all time. I know that, but they don't finish runner-up too often. When they get there, they win. And last year they won 10 consecutive state championship, or their 10th consecutive state championship in 3A, and now they bounce up to 4A. We'll talk about that in a minute, but they knew the gravity of the situation. They knew the history at stake, and they went out and just absolutely pummeled a Westview team that came into that game this high-powered offense and this great quarterback, and everybody was talking about how many points they score per game, and Alcoa just shut them down.
Absolutely, and to do that in your last year in that classification, which we'll get to more of that in just a second, but I think another favorite moment of mine, if we look back to last season, is of course Sevier County, and just the season that they were able to put together to go to Chattanooga and get a state title, which, unlike Alcoa, this one maybe is special for a number of different reasons. It
was such a storybook run from not only just going undefeated in the regular season, which doesn't happen really for any team all that often, but then you look at what happened in the second round against Powell. They were down 2 scores late in the fourth quarter, came back and won in regulation. The next week at West, it was the back and forth affair, the overtime, the almost catch, was it a touchdown or whatever, what was it or not? And then the next week they're down double digits in the semifinal to Oak Ridge. They come back to win that game. Then they get to the state championship game. They're going to get the Paige team that's been there 3 or 4 years in a row. They have this unbelievable defense, only giving up like 2 points per game, and Sevier County won that football game. It's as storybook comes, and now they start to learn about what it's like to defend a state championship, and they'll do that in week 1. We'll talk about that game a little bit later in the show.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we now look to this season in 2025, there are a number of changes, whether it's the coaching carousel, the players transferring, the classifications changing. You could start anywhere, but if I guess you want to look at the classifications for Alcoa, I mean, especially winning last year was huge because now you're moving up. You want to make sure you can get that 10-game slate. You want non-conference or non-region games that can fill out your schedule. For them, it's a big move, but it's funny, even though they're in Class 4A, Region 2, I believe, they still feel like the biggest school.
Absolutely.
The way they play.
Yeah, and they still carry that championship aura about them when they go into 4A. And it's funny, when the news came out that they were going to 4A, everybody immediately thought Alcoa, Anderson County. We're going to get that game in week 11 as a possible region championship game. So that's going to carry a lot of drama there in the final week of the season for Alcoa. And who knows, they might face off in the playoffs, but it's going to be refreshing to see Alcoa playing new opponents in the playoffs, whether that's Elizabethton, whether that's Greenville, whatever the brackets may produce. It's just exciting. There's a little bit of a buzz and electricity about Alcoa's playoff outlook again and kind of what it could be. So that's been one of the exciting changes. We also have, not too far from here, Oak Ridge. They're going up into 6A this year. Last year they made it all the way to the state semifinals in 5A, and they bring back all these pieces, and you think, man, if they were still in 5A, they probably have another shot at maybe getting Sevier County, but now they bounce up to 6A where they're going to go against the likes of Maryville High School and Farragut and Bradley Central and some of these bigger programs in 6A. But if you look at Oak Ridge's schedule historically, they're always playing Dobbins Bennett or a Farragut, somebody that's bigger than them. So I don't think it's going to be that much of a culture shock or of a change for Oak Ridge. Plus, they bring back their quarterback. They bring back Malik Howard, the Power 4 prospect at tight end. They bring back Will Presley, who was on the show with us last year at wide receiver. They bring back a 1,200-yard rusher. So there's still so many components from that team in place for them to transition to 6A and still be successful.
Yeah, and I think when you look to maybe some of the other changes we're expecting or are starting to get accustomed to is, of course, the coaching changes and the player transfers, which you've had such great coverage of, especially the coaching changes at 5starpreps.com. And we could look to West, we could look to Bearden specifically. I think those are the ones that catches everyone's mind. How has that continued to evolve? Who's taking the helm, and how are those teams looking?
This was supposed to be a quiet off-season, Paige. It was supposed to be quiet because the year before we had almost 20 coaching changes. And so you're thinking after the 2024 season, we might get 5 or 6. It turned into 18. 18 of our 70 programs underwent football coaching changes at the head position there. And you mentioned West. That was the one that was maybe the most unexpected and gut-wrenching and really just had the most drama. And now we see the keys to that car, so to speak, change hands from Lamar Brown, who's now on the football coaching staff at Maryville as an assistant, to Barron Chandler, a longtime defensive coordinator under Lamar Brown. He's with him at Morristown West. He's with him at Knoxville West. So there's not a lot of transition in regards to what the West football coaching staff looks like, other than the 2 assistants they had to release. But they were able to, I think, minimize the damage and keep the roster in place. I know there were some players that were reserves that might have bounced and left, but with the team that they expected to have in 2025, I feel like they have that team. But that was one of, again, many transitions. Bearden, we saw Josh Jones and Bearden part ways kind of right there around the end of January, early February. And we saw a mass exodus of players. I mean, that roster got down to somewhere around 20 players, 25 players for a 6A program. Brad Taylor, who has coached at Bearden before, he comes back. He takes over at his alma mater, and he's building that roster back up. Now, he might have to play some young kids this year, younger than probably he had hoped. So it's probably going to be a rebuilding year a little bit for Bearden, whereas last year they were a state quarterfinalist. So Lakeway Christian undergoes a coaching change. They get a proven winner from the Georgia high school ranks, a guy that's won state championships in Georgia. Anybody that follows high school football, if you're winning state championships in Georgia, you're doing big things. And Greg Vandergriff comes from Georgia up to Lakeway Christian. He's a Knoxville guy. He went to Knoxville Halls, but cut his teeth in the coaching profession down in Georgia, made a name for himself, and now he's going to try to take that program from, at a good year, 5-5, to somewhere they could go 8-2, 9-1, get into the playoffs, get those good seedings. So some players have been transferring up there. We've seen that, and we'll see if they can make good on it this year. But speaking of players transfers, it's been absolutely wild, and it's almost been a microcosm of what we see at the college level. Paige, I'm not going to mention names.
But you might.
But there was a kid, again, I'm not going to say who it is, good player last year, put up some yards. At the end of their 2024 season, they went to 4 different schools before they finally picked on a school for this year. This person. Now that's the nth degree of this, right?
Yes,
most of the time, most of the times it's we're moving to this city and we're going to go to this school, and it's not bouncing from school to school. But we have seen cases, whether it was in 7-on-7, of a kid that shows up and he's practicing with this week. We don't know if he's going to enroll or not, and then I follow up with that coach, and nope, he's back in Nashville, or he went back to Memphis, or so it's been wild. There have been rosters sent to us like, oh, I remember that kid. He played at such and such last year. And so we're learning where kids are going every day because it's just been so hard to track. Some of the bigger ones, Jason Thompson, a running back from Bearden, a Division I prospect. He's on the roster now at Anderson County, as is Charles Humphrey Jr., a Mississippi State commit, 6'7", 290 pounds, played at tackle for Bearden last year. He's now on the roster at Anderson County. I think around 6 or 7 kids from Bearden moved up there and on the roster at Anderson County. We've talked about Torrey Beaufort on this show before, skill player from Bearden last year. He's at Maryville now. Ethan Hill was a great linebacker, edge player at Bearden. He's at Powell now. So TKA, they had a coaching change. They lost about 10 players. They ended up at Lakeway or at Clinton. So it's different time and age in high school football, and the purest part of you wants to hate it, but you also have to accept it and know this is just what it is now, and we're kind of rolling with it.
Yeah, and especially for Coach Taylor at Bearden, he has quite the task this season, the exodus and having to deal with transfers. And as we get ready for our next segment, where we will be able to talk to Will Jones, the quarterback for Maryville, here are a couple of highlights from the First Bank Jamboree at Carson Newman. We'll have that and Derek Hunt, the Maryville head coach, coming up next as well.
Wherever life takes you, bank on First Bank.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.
Coach, I'm sure you're asked 100 times today already through this car wash of media, but just last season and winning a state championship, and was it everything you kind of thought it would be in your mind's eye?
Yeah, it was such a blur. I mean, it was way more than you think it's going to be. Just when you get so close with a team, and you've seen how they've grown through the years. I mean, I just kept thinking, man, it's so cool seeing these guys just excited, and get to the final game. We got back to the field house after the game. All the coaches were hanging out. We're like, kind of sad we don't get to coach these guys anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, that particular group, I mean, that's that kind of brotherhood they had, and goes from top to bottom with those guys. But I think more than anything this year going into it, we have so many guys coming back. They have all kinds of evidence of how hard it is. I mean, just every step of the way. You can't skip a step. There's no just showing up and doing anything, and we had a better offseason this past winter than last offseason. A lot of competition going on, and they're a lot of fun to be around, obviously, and they want to compete. It's just a matter of keeping the reins on and taking one thing a step at a time.
When did you feel like you mentally moved on from last year to really start to dig into 2025?
It was at least mid-January, to be honest with you. I remember I told coaches on a group text, whatever, said, Coach A, the older defense coordinator, he's trying to make depth charts week after we get back. So I don't want to talk about. I mean, I don't even want to talk about it. Let's enjoy what we just did, and that way we can wash our hands in January and move on. So I think that's been most of it anyway. And our guys are just, there's no talks of, hey, let's go get another one. There's none of that, because they know how hard it is and what we have to focus on. And got a great group of kids and coaching staff as well.
It's always a luxury when you can return your quarterback. You get to come back with Cooper Newman, who led you to a state title. He's just a junior. Can you discuss just kind of that relationship and how you continue to see him grow and improve when he's already pretty dang good?
Right. I mean, the funny thing is, when I talk to all these college OCs and quarterback coaches, and the initial, hey, his tape looks great, tell us about it. And it's always that. I can have a tape recorder, and I say, I know all high school coaches probably tell you this, but you're going to think I'm completely lying to you. I said, he don't have a negative. He has zero negatives about him. Personality, teachers love him, but he doesn't kiss up. He's just who he is. He's consistent. He's who he is every day. And they come watch him in a throwing session. They said, Coach, I don't think he missed a throw. And every one that came said exactly the same thing. And some of those sessions were at 6 a.m., I don't call anybody. He has five guys that are ready to run routes with him. I mean, just a lot of respect. Goes both ways. He keeps kids accountable, and they keep him accountable. It's a pretty good group.
Yeah. We talked about back when Parker Newman was our underclassman defensive player of the year, while he might be his role growing offensively.
Sure.
Is that still the case? And if so, what have you seen out of him?
He's going to have a monster year. I mean, we thought he had a monster year last year, mainly on defense. And you kind of saw in the playoffs, he kind of expanded for him. But he's one of the guys I was talking about with run routes. And, he gets an offer when they're there looking at Cooper throwing. He gets an offer running routes just on his body size. And he's faster, he's stronger. I think he's even grown a little bit, believe it or not. I think he's more over 6'5" now. He's matured in the weight room. Of course, he's a basketball guy too, but really took off in the weight room this spring, and he's hungry for it, and he's super mature, became one of our good leaders so far.
Any new faces you care to mention that have kind of raised some eyebrows with the coaching staff, like, man, this kid's leveled up, or this kid's going to be a big producer for us?
Yeah, I mean, he came on the scene late last year. Nate Patterson, running back, played some as a freshman when Teagan went down, and Nate's about 205 now. I mean, just super thick. Fills out his shorts, so to speak. He's one of those kids, and tireless worker, and another kid, Brody DeFrancisco, who played a role for us last year, a lot of special team stuff. He's taking a next step. He's going to be heard from a lot this year as well.
Just where you're at as a team, as a program, what are things you want to shore up over the next few weeks going into week 1?
I think just shoring up our depth. Lost some experience at safety. Slade Hickman started 3 years for us. He's gone, and had an unfortunate loss of Roman Gibbons. Basketball camp, ACL injury there this past summer. So got some inexperience there, talented kids, but some inexperience. Got to shore that up, and always to me, whether you have 5 or 25, it's up front. That's where it's at. O-line and D-line, and I like how those guys were working, and a lot of those guys will swing and play both sides just like last year, but competition always brings that out, and we got some guys pretty hungry for it.
Welcome back in, Paige Dauer alongside Jesse Smithey. Todd Loveday, Sevier County seems incredibly excited for next season, but I'm a little distracted. Like, it's very bright looking over here.
What?
I don't, like your aura, is that what you're saying earlier?
Yeah.
What is this? What is this?
It's the only time I'll ever get to wear something like this. This is our MVP for our First Bank Football Classic. So Saturday night at Carson Newman, 7 o'clock, we got Sevier County taking on Farragut. It's going to be a huge deal. A lot of people coming out. The MVP of that game gets this. So
hey.
I'm not going to get to wear it long, but for once I wanted to feel like, what's it feel like to be MVP?
To have some good swag.
So I'll be the MVP of this segment.
I can do that.
And then I'll take it off and make sure it doesn't get scratched up or anything. So
protect it.
But who knows? It might be Cooper Newman who wins it, the quarterback Sevier County. Maybe it's Corbin Hobson, the quarterback at Farragut. I don't know, but a lot of people excited at Sevier County this year, coming off that 15-0 season, and this will be their first game as the defending state champion.
And I hope the coaches, I'll take a picture of you while I will do this, and then maybe the coaches will put it up on their bulletin material. Say cheese. And they'll put it on their bulletin material.
Yeah.
And they'll say, you got to play hard. You got to get this MVP.
That's right. So Sevier County players, Farragut players, so you're watching this, you want the gold chain, the MVP. Ball out Saturday
I'll
night.
put it on like the No Context Twitter page.
So
Todd Loveday, he seems like there's a lot of excitement and there's a lot of potential around his team in 2025.
Yeah, and I think there's always the coach in you that wants to turn the page from the championship, but there's still going to be moments this year in the early weeks where they play a video from last year, and it'll probably be at our game where they play a video and they're still, at halftime of their game, somebody will be honored. They're never fully going to be able to escape the shadow of it. But at some point, I think they will. I think they will maybe around the end of the season really kind of get all in, the community all in on the 2025 season. But that's just what comes with being a state champion. There's just things to go to or banquets to go to, or we're going to honor this, that, or the other. People are still celebrating, and rightfully so. We talked about that season and how special it was, but as the coach and as the player, they want to put it away, not talk about it anymore, and get down to business. They're going to get to do that this Saturday night.
They're not even thinking about next week, let alone what happened last year.
Right.
But we're going to talk about next week. We're going to talk about game 1, week 1, and it's a packed week 1. I'm actually pretty excited for this one. And of course, we could start with Maryville and Alcoa and just the way that series and that history has gone, the way that each team has played on the road, and not always being able to get a win at home. All makes for an exciting storyline. I think you have to go all the way back to 2013, 2014 for the last time they played in August.
Yeah.
So really exciting.
Yeah, this game used to be the first game on their schedule each and every year back when I started covering high school sports back in the 2000s, back in the old days, and before Twitter, any of that stuff. And then it got moved to late in the year, which was kind of cool and unique. They got to play a big-time opponent in a big-time game before they went on their respective playoff marches. But now it's a sense of urgency right out of the bat. We're going to come out and have our biggest game, and I think that fuels them all summer. They know they can't ease into the schedule whatsoever or the season. These two communities, this means everything to them. Yeah. And so the last 2 years, you look at it, 2 years ago, Maryville wasn't supposed to win that game in 2023. Alcoa was loaded. Maryville had a freshman quarterback. Maryville won that football game. Last year, Maryville was supposed to win that football game and didn't. Alcoa won. And it was an unbelievable scene. You think these two programs that have won a combined now 40 state championships, when they beat each other, they celebrate more in that than they do when they win a state championship. And that's how much the Battle of Pistol Creek means to Maryville and Alcoa. You better get there early. You don't roll into a 7 o'clock kickoff at 6:45 thinking you're going to park there and
Not
get into the stadium.
second half, yeah.
I mean, when I go, I want to beat the traffic. I leave my house at like 4:30.
I don't doubt
I
it.
get there and I'll just sit in the parking lot in my car. I'll do work on my phone or whatever. But
so that's why there's no spots by like 6 o'clock.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm right up front. I'm wherever I need to be. It's that big of a deal, and I look forward to it
That's
this year.
awesome. And coming up after the break, too, we'll hear more about Will Jones and why he calls it the biggest game of his life. We could also look to Sevier County and Farragut. I think that is exciting for a number of reasons. Hasn't happened that much recently, but almost has this feeling of like renewing an old rivalry.
Yeah, and that game's going to be played at Carson Newman. We've got the ticket link out there on all of our social media, so make sure you're getting your tickets early and go ahead and getting that. But you're going to get to see Cooper Newman, a Power 4 prospect at quarterback who's been offered by Northwestern, Duke, Georgia Tech, Michigan State, Maryland, just over and over and over. Now, we hadn't seen that big SEC offer pop, but I think it's coming any moment now. You're talking about a 6'3", 200-some pound quarterback who rarely misses. He's completed well over 70% of his passes. 1 interception in 15 games last year, over 40 touchdowns. I mean, this guy's different. He's cerebral, he's even-keeled, he's level-headed, but he's also super competitive, and that's just an unbelievable recipe to have at quarterback. And now we're going to get to see how he improved. What can he do to improve? And he's got talent around him. He's got running backs. He's got linemen. He's got everything he needs to be competitive in 5A once again. And on the flip side, you got a Farragut team that, you remember last year they were 0-5, and then they all of a sudden became hard to beat. And so they hope that kind of spills into 2025. They have their quarterback back, Corbin Hobson, a 2027 kid who's also a big 6'3", 200-pound kid. Can do a lot of things with the football, and a lot more is going to be put on his plate this year. So Farragut got another tough schedule ahead. They don't want to start 0-5 like they did last year and try to work their way to the playoffs. So I think you're going to see a better version of Farragut in the early weeks of this season.
I think you should, and that should be a really exciting game at Carson Newman. It's a Saturday, August 23rd, 7 p.m., brought to you by
First
Bank Classic. That'll be a really exciting matchup. I think when you maybe go to another one that feels a bit more storied, or you maybe anticipate a little bit more from that as well, as the Anderson County and Powell game, and just how much those individual programs have done really in recent years.
Yeah, I love that these two teams play because, number one, they both value offense a lot, and they're always in the playoffs. They're in different classifications, but they're not afraid to schedule difficult early because no matter which way this game goes, both teams are going to get better because of it. And when those two teams get together, it's just touchdowns, touchdowns, touchdowns. We're going to get to see Deuce Rogers, 6'3", 240 pounds at quarterback, dual threat guy. He's got weapons around him. Anderson County, we talked about the transfers that they got, but we also get to see the debut of J.D. Gillum, freshman quarterback, son of head coach Davey Gillum, rocket arm for a quarterback, and kind of wise and mature beyond his years as a quarterback. And so we'll get to see him kind of thrust into the fire because Powell's defense features some really good players up on the front. Iverson Garcia going to South Florida.
And
then Ethan Hill kind of right there on the edge at linebacker, and he's a guy that loves to get into the backfield. So a lot of storylines and a lot of big-time players in that matchup.
I know, and I know you're talking about the teams that they love offense. You go back to last season, it was a 28-25 final. So maybe it's those games too where it incites the defense to get a little more active as well.
Yeah, and it came down to a defensive play, oddly enough, there late in the fourth quarter of that. And I think it was Anderson County who was able to get Powell's defense to jump off sides. And so we'll see if defense comes into play.
That comes down to discipline and coaching.
Yeah.
So they'll take a win like that
week
too.
Week one is always weird. I mean, everybody's
it's
a little bit.
It's like a dress rehearsal sometimes.
Everybody's a little bit rusty. So
yes. The other one is Oak Ridge versus Halls. Could be sneaky.
Thursday night game. And a lot of people, we talked about Oak Ridge and kind of the season that they had a year ago and what they can accomplish, but a lot of people have been talking about this Halls team, and here's why. They have a 3-year starter coming back and Amari Lethgo at quarterback. They have a tight end or wide receiver, kind of safety, and Brody Rogers, who had over 1,000 yards receiving and 10 defensive interceptions last year. They have a number of other athletes like Dom Culp, who lived in the backfield as a defender last year. He's going to be helping out at wide receiver. And then they have this cornerback who in the offseason blew up as an SEC prospect, Jarrell Chandler, 6'3", around 210 pounds, just an absolute boss of a kid and player. He's going to help out at wide receiver. So there's a star power and a star quality to this Halls team this year in 5A, and so they're going up against a 6A team in Oak Ridge, and this is a great game to kick off the season.
No, I absolutely think it is, and of course we also have coming up the interview with Will Jones. Great interview you had with the quarterback here earlier at Triple F, and then of course with Derek Hutton. So make sure you stay tuned to catch that interview as well.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.
Game one, how different is that for you guys?
You know, for me, that's what I grew up used to.
Right.
I'll never forget my dad dropped me off at Maryville Alcoa game week one super early when the gates opened. I just couldn't wait, you know, and playing in that game week one. So in the last 8 to 10 years, it moved around a little bit. But having it back at week one is, I think, super exciting. You know, it's still one of those games where the community shut down and go support their teams. And so, you know, there's so much that goes into that game, even outside of football, with the schools and pep rallies and, you know, the fundraising that competitions between the two schools. And so it'll be nice to play that huge game and then be able to move on and get ready for your region stuff, because as big as the game it is and everybody circles it and wants to win it, at the end of the day, it doesn't mean a whole lot in the region's seedings and stuff like that. So that'll be nice, and I'm excited. It's going to be a lot of fun, and, you know, we'll get to test ourselves early. There's no bigger test than Alcoa. We'll learn a lot about our team, and hopefully it'll make us better.
Last year. Welcome back in to the Walk Thru presented by Triple F. And you just heard from Maryville head football coach Derek Hunt. That guy has played in the Maryville Alcoa series, has actually covered some of his games back in the day. That shows you how long I've been around. And now we have his quarterback, Will Jones, going to be taking on Alcoa here in week one. And Will, this is different. We're used to it being kind of week 10, week 11, and now here week one. Do you feel more of a sense of urgency when you start the year with Alcoa?
For sure. It's one of the biggest games of the year, and we don't take it lightly. We want to win this game, but at the end of the day, it's best versus best. We're gonna put our best out there, and they're gonna put their best out there, and we're gonna try to win it.
I'm thinking back right now to 2 years ago.
Yep.
You were a freshman playing in that game. You guys won that game when nobody thought you were supposed to. Take me back 2 years ago and just your experience playing in that game.
Yeah, it was probably the biggest game of my life so far. I was confident in our guys. I had a great group up front, and Gage Ledoux and Bryce Davis were studs. So we had the pieces to win that game, and I thought we executed really well. We took care of the football, and that's the name of the game. Taking care of the football, you got a good chance to win it.
Yeah, we'll talk about this game a little bit more, but let's talk about kind of your career arc at this point. You're now going into your junior season. Last year was really kind of your breakthrough season on the whole, 31 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. Take me back to last year and just kind of what's your thoughts on that season, what you did well and what you wanted to improve upon.
Yeah, I felt like I matured for sure going into that year. And as an offense, we just felt better about the pieces we had around me, and we had playmakers to get the ball to, and our coaching staff does a great job of doing that, setting a game plan up to get our guys the best success for the game. But I was bigger, faster, stronger than I was my freshman year, and I think I've taken that jump this year. I think it's a big improvement in my game, and the mental side of the game is definitely just everything's faster for me this year.
When you talk about you getting bigger and stronger, what does that entail for you in terms of putting on poundage? Because I know you like to run the football as well. You have to be durable at the 6A level.
Yeah, for sure. I got to be able to run the ball, 10 times a game if we need to. Whether that's in the game plan or not, I got to be able to do it. And putting 10 pounds on is huge. I don't want to get slower, but I don't think it affects it. But just having that 10 pounds, having that muscle built up, just allows me to take more hits in the game, and that's huge for us, just to have another threat on the ground.
We talked about the physical side of the game. What about mentally? Where do you feel like you are in terms of just having a complete grasp of what Maryville wants to do offensively, and how much responsibility do they put on you now?
Yeah, we've been working since, the loss at Oakland. Me and my receivers have been working, and the coaches have felt they could put more on me, and I take on that role. I'm checking protections, and I'm doing more stuff just to put us in the best situation to win a game. And I think that goes with Coach Hunt. He trusts me, and ROC, Coach Hendricks, they have full faith in me. And it's hard not to have faith in yourself when you got teammates and coaches like that just pour into you, and that confidence is from them.
Mm-hmm. Of course, your dad was a quarterback in college. Your brother's a quarterback in college. Have you gotten to the point where you're not as reliant on them, or do you have that kind of communication level where you're always talking ball with them?
Yeah, it's huge. They both know the game really well. I work with my dad all summer, and then Carson, obviously, when he's in town, we're working and just talking football. It's nice to have that aspect of Carson just having played high school ball for Maryville and knowing the coaching staff and knowing what Maryville's about. That's huge, just to know that I got a community behind me and how much it means to people that you're really playing for more than yourself out there. And I mean, Carson's huge for me. We grew up playing together, and he's awesome for me.
So with your team this year, and there are a lot of components that are back. Brody Smith, whose dad owns this place, Lee Smith, and I'm certainly grateful for them. We've known about his ability up there on the offensive line, and Torrey Beaufort, a skill player who came over from Bearden, has joined the ranks there at Maryville High School. Tell me about this offense this year and kind of what you like about it and what makes it special.
Yeah, it's nice having Brody at left tackle, protecting my blind side. I don't think I was touched last year. Our 2 tackles last year were huge, and this year we're just as good. We got a great group up front, starting with Brody, and then Nash Dennett's he'll play right tackle for us. And then Torrey obviously is a threat. Anytime you can get the ball to him, he's got a chance to score. And I don't think we've had that in a while. I can throw a bubble out there and he can take it 90 yards if he wants. And then Cohen Babley, our running back right now, he's just a tough runner. He's one of those guys that won't shock you, but he'll get 5 yards every carry if he wants. And then Colton Faust, Julian Douglas, Grayson Myers. All 3 of those guys can play ball too. So we got some threats to get the ball to, and I think this offense is going to be explosive.
Going into this Alcoa game, nobody's really going to change up what they do. You guys know what Alcoa does. They know what you guys do. What do you expect defensively out of Alcoa and kind of their game plan towards you? Yeah,
I think Alcoa is probably going to have the best defense we play all year, other than Oakland, which they're probably just as good. Alcoa is always tough. Coach Nix does a great job. They're going to play incredibly hard, and that's what they're a tough team. Their linebackers are good. Number 42 for them is good, and then they'll play a 3 safety look. They'll change things up, blitz. Coach Nix likes to change things up and just put pressure on me, and I think I'm ready to take on the challenge.
Yep. Well, Will, I know you guys have been preparing. You came over here after practice, so thanks so much for joining us here on the Walk Thru. Great to see you, and best of luck on Friday night. That's Will Jones, quarterback at Maryville High School. Check them out on Friday night against Alcoa.
I know you got thrust into things pretty early in your career. Did you feel like you got a welcome to high school football moment?
Oh, definitely, yeah. You get hit a couple times. I even think last year there were some moments I'm like, man, this is something else. But I think just getting hit like that, really wakes you up.
Did you ever have a welcome to high school football moment?
Yeah, it was crazy because it's brotherhood. Yeah, it stays in the brotherhood. CJ, Ryan Scott, all them boys, they was on the defense, and they just started terrorizing me as the scout running back, tearing my jersey up. Welcome to high school.
Yeah.
I never did have a welcome to high school moment. I started playing towards the end of my freshman year, wide receiver. I didn't play any defense at this time, but as far as I can remember, I didn't have a welcome to high school moment.
Not even at practice, no upperclassmen, did you?
I mean, I'm sure I got beat a couple of times in practice, but nothing too crazy where I remember it.
Did you ever have a welcome to high school football moment that was just kind of humbling?
Yeah, I did. It was, I think it may have been sophomore year, actually. We was in board drills, so we had a pad in between us, and it was me up against Brent Hayward.
Okay.
And let's just say he picked me up, and he definitely told me what was up. He put me to the ground.
Whenever you got to varsity football, did you have a welcome to high school football moment?
I'm not gonna lie, Jarvis Dozier, my freshman year, he gave me turf burn all above me, something on my back. It was rough, but it's a part of it, and you grow from it.
You're trying to tackle him, and that's what?
Oh my gosh, it was rough. He came down, but I think I got the worst part of it.
Probably my freshman year at Webb, we played, and I got in. I was 13 years old, and I looked at Joey Bonifacio. He played linebacker, and he was a big dude. He had paint on his face, and it was scary. And I think that was a wake-up call. I can't be scared of these people. I actually threw an interception that play. So,
yeah. When you
I mean, so I played corner. I started corner. I was 14 my freshman year. And I wouldn't say I was the strongest guy out there, man. You got guys running outside zone out there, and they're laying you out, man. I'd say, man, we were playing Sevier County. It was probably like week 7. And I got the brakes lit off me, man. I got nailed. And you just realize you're like, man, you're out here.
Welcome back in, Paige Dauer, alongside Jesse Smithey. Maybe one of my more favorite parts following, of course, those interviews you get to do here, of course, with, Will Jones, finally figuring out, like, why he did say that Maryville-Alcoa game is, like, the biggest game of his life. As you mentioned, sometimes it means a little bit more than a state championship game.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can tell that it means the world to them. And, again, just to start off the season with your arch rival, I mean, there's going to be 6,000 to 8,000 people, sometimes more. You just never know what kind of crowd will show up. With it being week 1, it might be massive.
It might be massive. All right, let's get to our games to pick, of course, brought to us by Rusty Wallace Kia, a great partner here, along with Triple F. But this is kind of our dress rehearsal. We'll be full strength next week.
Yeah, absolutely. But Rusty Wallace Kia and Jake Bull have been gracious enough to sponsor this segment. And next week, we'll have to add another chair. Jake Bull will be up here alongside of me, and he loves football, loves sports, and he's an energetic guy, passionate guy. So he's going to be picking with me. So it's just not me anymore. So I don't. Some of the hate can be directed his way. If he happens to pick against the team.
That's what he gets for not being here today. We put all the blame on him. And
absolutely. But they've been a sponsor with 5-Star Preps before, and now in a new role here on the Walk Thru presented by Triple F. But I've been up to Rusty Wallace Kia. I've met those people up there. It's an unbelievable facility. And just invite parents up there. You got kids that need a car, or parents, if you need a car, go see Jake Bull and his team at Rusty Wallace Kia up there in North Knoxville and check it out. I promise you won't be disappointed. But looking forward to having Jake on the show next year, or next week. But thank Rusty Wallace Kia for sponsoring.
Absolutely. So let's get to our first game. We look to Halls at Oak Ridge. Like we mentioned earlier, it's a Thursday game. When you look at kind of what we talked about earlier in the show, who in this matchup? Are you leaning towards Halls?
I'm probably going to lean towards Oak Ridge. The game is at Oak Ridge. Again, the momentum that they have coming off of their state semifinal run a year ago. Now, they've been a little bit dinged up in the backfield. Demillion Porter, who ran for over 1,200 yards, has been a little bit slowed this summer with an injury, but I think probably by mid-September he'll be back full strength. So Oak Ridge isn't at complete strength right now, but you got Blaine Stansberry at quarterback, the program's all-time leading passer. And in Oak Ridge, it's as historic of a program as it comes. And when you got your lead passer still with a full season to go, that shows you how much passing yardage he's put up in his career. He's got weapons, the Will Presleys, the Malik Howards of the world, and there's going to be some new faces I think we see emerge for Oak Ridge as stars this year. Halls is going to play well. They get after it defensively, but I'm a lean in Oak Ridge on this game.
Okay, I have you written down for Oak Ridge so that we can know for next week. The other one that I think is really interesting, just the way that the series has played out with the home and away scenario, is Maryville and Alcoa. So the last 7 road trips, you would say, for Maryville, they've won the last 7 meetings at Alcoa.
Wow.
But is this the year that Alcoa snaps that streak for Maryville, or does Maryville get 8?
I like Maryville to win this football game. Again, they come in as I think, more complete team, especially at the quarterback position. Remember, Eli Graff was everything to that Alcoa team a year ago, especially offensively at the quarterback position. Well, he's graduated now. He's at Carson Newman. Thomas Manu takes the reins of the offense, and he's a guy that was Eli's understudy, so he got some time on the field when Eli would come out of the game. But he also played a lot in the secondary, so the brightness of this rivalry is not going to shake him or rattle him too much. He might have some nerves early, and that's just natural for any player on the field. But I just feel like Maryville is a little bit farther along where they want to be as a team and as a program on the whole. Alcoa will get there fast. Don't get me wrong, but I just feel like Maryville is going to win this football game. I think they're a little bit more ready to do that.
Yeah, that'll be an exciting one to look for. AC, Anderson County, at Powell. Of course, Powell has like the slight advantage. I think series history, it's 14-12 in favor of Powell. Close game last year, like we mentioned. Will it be close again this season? And who are you leaning to?
Yeah. This is a tough one, just because of the history there between these two programs and how close the games have been and the drama that comes along with some of these last-minute finishes between AC and Powell. Powell has the senior quarterback who's seen it all, who's done it all. Deuce Rogers can do things with his arm, can do things with his legs. Their defense this year is unreal. I think we're going to see spurts in this game where Anderson County finds it offensively. But there's so many new parts up there, and I just wonder, like, how how does it all gel in week one against a defense like that?
Yeah.
Again, I think they're going to have drives you're like, wow, this team could be special.
flashes.
But then there might be moments where they struggle. So I'm going to take Powell in a close one.
Okay,
In a close
I'll
one.
say close one
Okay.
on the
Yeah.
list. Okay,
Give me like a half point.
the next one is Heritage at Clinton. That's a Saturday game, and Clinton is 10-4 all time.
Sneaky good game here. Sneaky good. Coach Osavet out at Heritage, talked with him at Media Day, and he made no bones about it. This has to be the year.
Okay.
We got quarterbacks coming back. We got big linemen, especially on defense. On the interior, it's going to be hard to run against us. Everything's kind of in place for Heritage. They dropped down in classification this year. They go from 5A down to 4A. That might help them, but 4A is loaded now.
It is.
But Clinton is a team that's been the kind of beneficiary of some transfers. Mason Eckerson comes over from TKA, a great dual threat quarterback. They now have 2 quarterbacks as well. So we could almost see 4 quarterbacks play in this
like
game
fantasy
between
football, yeah.
between the 2 teams combined. But you got Bryson Maddox out there, the 6'5" wide receiver from Clinton, who was our area's leading receiver last year, and he's a Division I prospect. So it's going to be a fun game to watch, a chess match. Jake Dawson, the 25-year-old head football coach at Clinton, coaching against one of his former mentors. So there's just so many storylines, an exciting game. I'm going to take Clinton. I'm going to take Clinton.
okay.
This is going to be a fantastic football
Did
game
not see that.
on a Saturday night. But I'm going to go with my guys, Mason Eckerson and Bryson Maddox. But it's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, that's why I love week one. You don't really know yet. You can still have these bold takes and then not have too much pressure on the back end.
I'm so bad in week one picks. No, like for real, like I think I have it all figured out going to week one, but weird things happen in week one. Just the injuries and the cramps and the sloppy play and all the flags. And so you just never know what's going to happen in week one.
You really don't. That's why they're not one on paper. Farragut versus Sevier County. That's another Saturday game. I'm not even going to try to pretend like I know where you're going to go with this one.
Sevier County. Sevier
Okay,
County.
I'm
This
glad
is
I
the
said that.
one that I feel the most confident in.
Okay, is
and
this a bold take, a hot take, or are you just like, it should be obvious?
Again, I think there's times where Farragut's going to look good because Corbin Hobson, the quarterback, is that good for Farragut. And I think there's a new added dimension to his game this year that we're going to get to see on display Saturday night at Carson Newman. But when you look at Sevier County on the whole and kind of the tail of the tape, they just have so many great pieces in place. We haven't even talked about Parker Newman.
Right.
He was not related whatsoever to Cooper Newman, but he was our sophomore kind of defensive underclassman of the year. He's getting Division I offers. He's a great guy that you're going to see at linebacker and at wide receiver. Who plays linebacker and wide receiver? Parker Newman does. He's like 6 foot, he's like 6'4", 210, 15 pounds. They have a 6'5" linebacker at Sevier County. So
They got some good size there.
yeah, just a lot of size and athletes and belief in that Sevier County team. But I think we're going to see a much improved Farragut team, and I think this game could be close for a little bit.
Okay. What do you think final score is?
I'll take Sevier County 35-21.
35-21. I can't wait till next week.
Yeah, it's going to be so bad. I'll be like 0-5, and it'll be like a 6-3 game.
And Jake's going to be like, what are you doing, Jesse? A great first week of the walkthrough to kick off the 2025 football season. Great interviews with Will Jones and Derek Hunt, Todd Loveday, of course, Triple F always being a great host for us to be here, and just really getting excited a little bit more about the classic that you guys will have coming up for week one.
Should we get an MVP chain just to wear up on Seb?
I wanted one.
Okay.
You took it off, and I said, can I wear it?
I'll-
He laughed, walked
I'll-
off, and I was serious.
If you do a good job for the entire season, I'll get you an MVP for a host of the walkthrough.
Okay, MVP for me.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, thank you guys for joining us. We'll be back next week for week 2.
This is the Walkthrough, powered by Triple F Elite Sports Training. Train like a pro. Your all-access pass to the biggest games, hottest stories, and everything high school football in East Tennessee. From the Friday night lights to the chase for championships, we bring you the stars, the headlines, and every heart-pounding moment. So strap on that chin strap and get ready. Jesse, Paige, and the 5-Star Preps team are here with the most complete high school football coverage in the state. This is the Walkthrough.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.